If I could step into a time machine and go back and tell my 14-year-old self 5 things that I could put my money into from the very start, I'd be light years ahead of where I am now. Let me share those 5 things with you. The first thing would be to save and invest my money from the jump. You see, if you put aside 20% of your check every single week, especially when you're younger, you won't miss it. Look, they're already taking out taxes and you don't get a refund for it until the next year. So if you take that 20% out and pay yourself first, it's gonna just grow exponentially. Just consider this. If you put away just $50 a week, right, and you're 18 years old, at 10% interest compounding year over year, when you turn 40, you'll have $200,000, over $200,000. And if you were to up that number to $500, I'll tell you how you could do that. You'd have over $2 million when you're 40 years old. 40 is not that old. It may be old to you now, but I promise you the time is going to pass whether you've invested in your future or not. So start planning for it. It's going to come. The time is going to pass. I promise you that. If you're 18 right now, your reference is short. 1 year is more than 5% of your life. But once you get to 40, it cuts in half to 2.5%. And as you age more and more, it cuts down even more. So if you spend your time just thinking about saving and investing and actually putting the action behind it, even if it was just $50, think about it this way. If you turned 40 and you had $0 in your bank account, wouldn't you be upset that you didn't just put away $50 a week into an index fund and let it grow for you? I mean, come on, it's $50. What can you buy with $50 anymore? Not very much, not even a bag of groceries. Tip number 2 would be to avoid consumer debt like the plague. So in the first tip, we talked about how compound interest would be on your side. If you invested $50 a week, 10%, you'd have a little over $200,000 by the time you turn 40. And if you let it keep going, it gets crazy the more years you have behind it. That's why it's great to start young. But on the flip side, if you spent money on a credit card and you didn't have the wherewithal to pay that balance off in full, or furthermore, you're just buying things that you don't really need, especially in the beginning years, you're putting handcuffs on your future. Because what ends up happening is instead of you getting paid from putting that money aside for your future, you're paying these credit card companies every single month the minimum payment. And if you look at the bottom of your statement, sometimes, depending on your balance, it could take up to 20 years to pay off your credit card payments or your credit card bill at the minimum monthly payment. So if you can avoid that, it's only going to be in your benefit. Then you allow your money to grow instead of you growing the credit card's bank account, which has zero benefit for you. Avoid the shiny object syndrome of 0% interest for a certain amount of months. Because once that time period is over and you still have a balance, they're going to retroactively bill you for interest over that whole period of 18 months, all at one time. And when that hits, it's typically at 22 to 28% interest. So why pay for stuff 2 or 3 times? Save your money, budget for it, and buy it all at once. Well, you don't owe anyone, you don't owe any credit card companies, and you can allow your money to still grow. All that money you save from paying interest could go toward your future, and your future self will absolutely thank you. Number 3 would be to live below your means. Now, I'm not saying you need to live in a box on the side of the road, but come on, be reasonable. We all have that shiny object syndrome. We all want, if you're younger, maybe you want to live in a high-rise downtown. Maybe you want a little bit bigger house. It's not a need, but a want. Maybe you want to live to a more affluent neighborhood. Just understand, if you spend the early years building a foundation for your finances, later on, you'll be able to live in those nice places, but it'll be effortless. You see, when you put money aside, instead of trying to keep up with the next person, just because your neighbor got a nice car doesn't mean you need to get one. Remember, the purpose of a vehicle is to get you from point A to point B. Now, I gave up my vehicle to pursue a goal on this channel, so I walk and bike everywhere. It's not the worst thing in the world. And as a matter of fact, it's really good for you. You see, you're moving your body around, you're staying healthy, and it doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't cost you insurance, it doesn't cost you a monthly payment on a vehicle. And that is more money that you can put away. Now, I'm not saying forever, but in your younger years, say the first 5 to 10 years of your life, where you're an adult, if you could put away $500, $600 a month, that would be a car payment and insurance. By the time you're 40, you could have millions of dollars, millions, and literally quit working while everyone else is working until 65 and 70. This is tip number 4. I'm sure you've heard this before, but you've never really considered how to do it. You know, it's 2024 right now, and 2025 is right around the corner. And this is the easiest time to do this. You see, we have 168 hours in the work week, or in the week period. Now, if you take away 8 hours a day for sleeping, right? That's 56 hours. You're still left with 112 hours. You take away your 40 for your work week, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, right? You still have 72 hours. Say you took 30 of those hours, you worked 6 days at 5 hours a day extra. In the beginning years, I'm not telling you need to do this forever, but that could generate an extra $500 to $600 you can put toward your future. You see, every dollar you put toward your future cuts down your actual work life. We're not here to just work. We're not here to just work and pay bills and repeat. And if you build multiple streams of income, and that could be doing rideshare, you could literally just finish your day at work, turn on that rideshare app, turn on that food delivery app until you make $100, and then you go home. What were you gonna do with that time anyways? Catch up on the next anime? Binge watch some Netflix? Eat some junk food? You're likely gonna save yourself some health issues and a lot of money. And finally, number 5 would be to study financial literacy. Like, there's no excuse for it these days, because you've got YouTube and you've got so many people out there that have taken the time and energy to teach you exactly how to invest. It's not a secret anymore. There's no more gatekeeper. There's probably hundreds of platforms that you could use to trade stocks. But if you just close your eyes and bury your head in the sand and don't do anything, you're gonna find that when you do turn 40, 50 years old, you're gonna be exactly where you are right now, with no plan, no money, and wondering what you're gonna do with the rest of your life. If you spend this time right now learning about how to invest, how to be a good steward of your finances, how to budget, it will pay you for years and years to come. Look, I'll tell you something. As time passes on, I see these cycles of unemployment. I see these cycles of, technology washing jobs away. What if that's one of your jobs when you're in your 40s or you're in your 50s and you didn't plan for your future? You didn't have anything to fall back on. It's going to hurt that much more. If you spend this time now when you're young and blend that with the benefit of time for interest to compound on your money, you're in a win-win-win situation. Look, I only want the best for the people that are a part of my community. Like, only the best. That's the only reason I'm sharing this stuff. So, are you ready to win? Like, think differently about your paycheck. In the very beginning, If you take care of it now, when you were young, it will take care of you later when you're older. I hope you got some value out of this video. And if you have friends that make a good amount of money, but they're squandering it, share this video with them. So let them know something as small as 50 bucks. Like, I would love to have an extra 200 grand right now. That'd be amazing. I'd be able to make some incredible moves, because every time they talk about a recession, every time they talk about financial troubles, if you have cash, that's when the real money is made. When houses are short selling for pennies on the dollar and you have cash, you might be able to scoop up 2 or 3 of those because you prepared for it. And the rent and income from those houses could pay you for the rest of your life. You could retire at that point. But if you don't plan for your future, you'll never be able to have that possibility or that experience. So if you made it this far, I'd like you to leave the word money in the comment section. This one's about money. These are 5 things I would have told my 18-year-old self, actually 14-year-old self, when I first started out. And I already have 24 years of compounding interest to go with. That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.